If you find a tree with these little pink pom-pom looking flowers in the spring or summer, you found one of the most effective herbal medicines for working with depression, sadness, and one that can really just bring you out of a funk. It's called the mimosa tree. My name is Matthew Hunter with Legacy Wilderness Academy, and in this video, I'm going to show you how you can harvest mimosa and turn it into a potent herbal medicine that you can make right from home. Scientifically, mimosa is known as Albizia julibrissin, and it's originally from Southeast Asia, where it has been used in traditional medicine for at least 2,000 years. And it's still used today in the treatment of depression, grief, emotional trauma, anxiety, stress, and insomnia. Mimosa was introduced to the U.S. as an ornamental tree in 1745 and is now naturalized across the southeastern U.S. and in parts of California, where it's often considered invasive due to its weedy growth habit. It's identified by its bipinnately compound leaves that are almost fern-like in appearance and its pink pom-pom shaped flowers that appear from around May to July and are then followed by long bean pods. The parts we use for medicine are the flowers and the bark. So for the flowers, of course, you can pick them, dry them out, and just make them into tea. But for this video, we're gonna make an alcohol extract or tincture by filling up a jar with the flowers and then covering it in high proof alcohol. In this case, 190 proof or 95% drinking alcohol. After that, they're gonna soak in the alcohol for about 10 days. We can strain them out, and then the medicine's ready. The bark of mimosa is first harvested by sawing off one of the limbs or just cutting down a whole tree. After that, we're going to scrape off the bark with a knife. Now we want to keep in mind here that with medicinal trees and shrubs, it's actually the inner bark that is medicinal. That question comes up a lot, but it's often the case that the outer bark is so thin that it's not worth the time to remove it. And that's the case with mimosa. So all we have to do is scrape it off, and then next we're going to cut it up into little pieces. And then lastly, we'll cover it with alcohol just like we did with the flowers. So for this, we're gonna let it sit a little bit longer, about 4 to 6 weeks, and then we're going to strain it out. Next, let's talk about dosage. So here I have a finished tincture of the bark, and mimosa has one of the most noticeable effects of any of the plants that I use. About 15 to 20 minutes after taking it, I feel a strong uplifting effect. 30 drops of this bark tincture is actually going to be almost too much for me. So it's almost like whenever I take too much, it has almost too much of an uplifting effect, and it can actually start to feel almost a little overwhelming if you take a little bit too much. So about 30 drops or one full dropper full is like just like the most amount I would probably take, and then about half a dropper full on a typical day-to-day basis. The way I use this, I primarily use it for its mood boosting, sort of antidepressant-like effects. If you're gonna use it for things like anxiety, I would recommend mixing it with other herbs for anxiety, like skullcap, for example. If you're gonna use it for stress, I would recommend mixing it with other herbs for stress, like skullcap or like magnolia bark, for example. And if you're going to use it for insomnia, again, I would recommend mixing it with other plants that are more specific to insomnia, things like skullcap again, and things like passion flower, other sleep herbs. It goes wonderful in formulas for things like that. Also, I use it in my burnout formula. So a really wonderful plant that I think everyone should know. So without further ado, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. By the way, my name is Matthew Hunter with Legacy Wilderness Academy. And before I go, I'll tell you about my free ebook on medicinal plants of the Southeast. So if you want to learn more about medicinal plants, make sure to grab yourself a copy of that free ebook. You can find the link for that in the description below this video. Until next time, y'all have a good one.